Hello, and welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, the blogcast. This is episode 231. I've been doing this a little while. I feel like I don't really keep track, but I know that I started this kind of around about the same time as The Guilty Feminist, and they just celebrated their 5th year. Has it been 5 years? That's insane. Maybe they started earlier than me. They must have. I don't think it's been 5 years. But maybe, time is passing very strangely right about now. So who knows? Anyway, I'm Emily Rainbow Davis. If we haven't met, hello. It's nice to meet you via this situation. Today's blog is related to a sort of series of tweets that I saw connected to Howard Dean. I recognize there are probably quite a few of you who don't know who Howard Dean is. So I thought I should maybe preface this by saying that Howard Dean was once interesting. He ran for president, and he was one of the more progressive candidates at the time, which at the time seemed like, wow, so cool. But it was 2004. I really thought it was further back in time that he ran for president, but it was only 2004 that he ran. So if you weren't following American politics in 2004, I'm speaking particularly to my listeners who live in other countries, you wouldn't know Howard Dean. And you don't really have a reason to know him now, aside from he said some things about Gen X, and it made us mad. So I wrote about it because I couldn't help myself. Somehow I feel like the spokeswoman for Gen X now. I don't know. Anyway, here it is. Howard Dean came for Gen X. It did not go well for him. Well, would you look at that? Howard Dean decided to come for Generation X on Twitter. He claimed we were a moral shipwreck, and as evidence, cited all such examples as the recent additions to the Supreme Court, Ted Cruz, and Marco Rubio. Well, yes, those people are all Gen X, sure. And Dean deleted the tweet after Gen X roasted him soundly, but of course, as your Gen X blogging source, I cannot let this go by. Generationally, all the conservative dirtbags Dean name-checked are kind of anomalies. They're highly visible, but they are also exceptions. They're the kind of exceptions the rest of us made fun of in high school. Like, seriously. And I think it may be important to think about this systemically. Let's take the 2 new, horrible additions to the Supreme Court, who are, yes, Dean, I agree, moral shipwrecks. These 2 are not judges because they are exceptional jurists. They were groomed from the get-go by the Federalist Society when these 2 shipwrecks were young, unpopular conservatives. As a generation, we pretty roundly rejected these sorts of people. They're corporate tools, lame, uncool posers who we would never invite to our parties. Also, Brett Kavanaugh was a creep who would definitely drink all your beer. But you know who did invite these people to their parties? Conservatives in your generation, Howard Dean, and the generation before yours. These folks were welcomed and trained and welcomed and made to feel like conservative kings. They were raised up, supported, given mentoring and jobs. And here we are with these lame corporate tools in office and on the Supreme Court. There was no one doing this on the left, Howard Dean. There were no lefties welcoming passionate leftist politicos when we were young. No one was waiting anxiously for Rashida Tlaib to grow up so they could give her a judgeship. I'd wager no Young Democrats Association gave Ayanna Pressley a scholarship. No one escorted Julian and Joaquin Castro to the Yale Club to get them some funding. If you don't see a lot of lefty Gen Xers, Howard Dean, it's because A, you're not looking, because I just named 4 of them, and B, because lefty Gen Xers were left to fend for themselves. We are, in fact, famous for this skill at fending for ourselves. We were known as the latchkey generation for a while before Gen X stuck as a name. Lefty Gen X has always been pretty anti-establishment, but if anyone had bothered, I bet we could have organized. We're a bunch of Billy Bragg fans. We'd fight for the union. If conservative Gen X is more visible, more morally repugnant, more famous, it is because older generations boosted them up the ladder in a way that they never did for more liberal Gen X, who are, I think, in the majority. You made this moral shipwreck, Howard Dean. You did. You were in a position to lead and support and mentor Gen X, and you let it slip by. And so we are left with a bunch of Gen X corporate tools in positions of big power that none of us would let into our parties. You could try to blame us, the way conservatives try to blame the kids who didn't befriend the kids who became school shooters. Like, maybe we should have been nicer to those sociopaths in high school. But ultimately, the lure of money and power would have won them. Even if someone had given Amy Coney Barrett a punk makeover, it would not have been as powerful as the internships, the scholarships, and the job that the Federalists had in mind for her. There is no generation that is as obsessed with cool as Gen X. Every Gen Xer was judged by how cool or not cool they might be. Would you say Ted Cruz was cool? How about Amy Coney Barrett? Is she cool? Brett Kavanaugh? Cool guy? Not by our standards, my friends. These are not cool people, Howard Dean. They are not the best of our generation. And the fact that you think they represent us suggests to me, Mr. Dean, that you don't know us at all. You may know our might now that you've come for us. I don't know what my generation mates may have said to you on Twitter to get you to delete your tweets and back down, but I know it must have been fierce. Gen X is cool like that. And there we have it. I do not know what the people said. I wish I did in response to Howard Dean. I discovered this through several layers deep after it had already been deleted. But the tweet that led me to this situation was something about, I think it was Andy Zeisler, who's a feminist on Twitter. I think she may be the editor of one of these awesome feminist magazines, but I can't remember which one. Anyway, she said something about like, are you telling me I spent the last 4 years feeling bad about Howard Dean making that weird sound? And this is the thanks I get. If you missed 2004, Howard Dean basically lost his chances because he made a weird noise. It was like a yaw or something weird. It was weird. But like now, compared to the just woo, like that weird sound is... Anyway, we felt bad about his weird sound elimination, but I don't know, after this. Anyway, who knows? It was a while ago. It was like a month ago now that these tweets happened. And the reason this is so late in coming in response is that I was not sure it was of interest. So I'd written like a quarter of it, maybe a third, a half, I don't know, some chunk of it. And I was just really sitting on it like, I don't know. And then like the more time that went by, the like less important it seemed to be to address it. But then, I don't know, I was looking at it one day and I just sort of knew what I needed to say. And, you know, I'm not like up to the minute. If you need an up to the minute news source, I am not it. Number one, I'm not a news source. Number two, I am not up to the minute. If you need your news response 1 month late, come to me. I am here for you. Yeah. So, good old Howard Dean. Anyway, so what do I have for you for a song? Well. I've had this song on my list of songs to learn for a while. I feel like I tried it for some other blog and just like, it was like, oh, I can't sing this song. I cannot do it. Like I couldn't practically figure it out. For some reason, the key was really confusing. Like it was both too low and too high at the same time. And I just was like, I can't. But then it just seemed like, oh, this is the right song for this post. So I took another look at it and figured it out. By the way, it's Ship of Fools by World Party. I figured it should be a Gen X song for sure. And I feel like it has the quality of the ship, which Howard Dean, he called us a moral shipwreck. So I do not want to be included in his idea of Gen X. I do not want to be on that ship of fools. Anyway, it just seemed like the right song to do for this situation. So in a moment, you will hear World Party's Ship of Fools on ukulele. Meanwhile, if you would like to support the blog, please tell someone about it. Or the podcast, the thing you're actually listening to. Share it on the social medias. All of my links are in the show notes. If you would like to support it, there's patreon.com/Emily R. Davis. There's also PayPal and Ko-fi. All those links are in the show notes. I got a very sweet donation for this particular post from afar even. So that always feels good. Like, especially since I was not so sure about this one, it's nice to be affirmed that way. So thank you to that person and to all of you for listening. So I think that's all. If you would like to become a patron on Patreon, if you join before the end of the year, I will send you the end of the year zine. So you don't have to have been a patron all this time. I will send you the thing now if you join in here at the end. You could be a last minute joiner. So yeah, extra motivation maybe? I don't know. Anyway, thank you all so much for listening. And here is Ship of Fools. Sail to the place on the map from which no one has ever returned, drawn by the promise of the joker and the fool, by the light of the crosses that burned, drawn by the promise of the women and the lace and the gold and the cotton and pearls. It's the place where they keep all the darkness you need. You sail away from the light of the world on this trip, baby. You will pay tomorrow. You will pay tomorrow. Yeah, you will pay tomorrow. don't want to sail with this ship of fools. No, no, no. Where's it coming from? Or where is it